Yeah, hi, good evening. My name is David, and today I'm running our second session of the Tales of Xadia Lost Oasis playtest. Um, Tales of Xadia is an upcoming role-playing game based on the Cortex Prime engine. It's currently in development in playtest, the version we're playing of it. It is based on the Netflix TV series, The Dragon Prince. So we have we're working currently from the playtest rules that we'll be playing through. We started our session last time. We're picking it up again today. We have had a week off in between, so I will be doing a quick recap on sort of roughly what was going on and where people were at last time in just a moment. This game is being arranged and played through the Gauntlet, which the Gauntlet Calendar in specific, which is we're a kind of online role-playing group. We have a calendar where you can sign up for slots in games like this one. You can find out more about that at the website gauntlet-rpg.com, where you can read more about all the different stuff we do, as well as running sort of online gaming. We also have a series of podcasts. We have a monthly gaming magazine called Codex that's released in the first instance to our Patreon backers, but back issues are also available through RPG. So yeah, that is roughly what we're here to do and who we are. But yeah, first off, I'm going to ask each of my players to introduce themselves and tell us a little bit about the character that they are playing this evening. We'll go through in character keeper order to do this at first. And as I said, my name is David. I use he, him pronouns. And Callum, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a brief overview of who you're playing today.
Hello, I am Callum from the Released podcast, and tonight, Callum pronouns he, him. Tonight I will be playing Diyan, pronouns he, him as well, who is a pro-Durinian free folk, also a soldier of the garden who never backs down. He's a tall man of color, very imposing, especially when he's wearing his impressive armor and wielding his spear fight, his Durinian spear, which is quite typical of where he comes from.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. And Peter, yeah, if you'd like to go next.
Sure. My character is Vinaya. She is a human noble, herald of the Queen Anya.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And Mark, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us about who you're playing.
Yeah, I'm Mark. Go he or them. And I'm playing Winda, who is a Delbarian hinterlander who, after the king was killed, just took off and started hanging around the woods where she met up with everyone else.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And last but not least, Donna, if you'd like to introduce yourself and tell us a little about who you'll be playing tonight.
Thanks, David. My name is Donna. My pronouns are he, him. Tonight I'm playing Eljaal, a moon shadow elf. They are erstwhile assassin, but maybe thinking that there's a different purpose for them in this world.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So yeah, just to kind of recap on roughly where we were last time and what I think individual people were up to. The party had been hired by another moon shadow elf by the name of Feathershawl. Sorry, I keep making that mistake. I've written it several times as well. But yes, Feathershawl, who is a mystic spellcaster who had hired them to come to the what they certainly believed or what they certainly claimed was an abandoned floating island with a village on it called Innean. This floating island was heading on a collision course with a local mountain range. Seemingly out of control. Feathershawl wanted to come here because there is an artifact known as the Primal Well, which which they believe is used to kind of actually power the island itself, but which they have designs of their own upon, which they touched on briefly last time, but we'll learn a little more about as we get into the session today. Once the party had arrived on this floating island, thanks to Feathershawl's magic, they discovered it was not as abandoned as had been first believed. There is a small community of sky song elves, I think is the term, skywing elves, sorry, who were living up here, who'd been separated from the rest of Xadia for centuries now, probably, certainly some time, but have been living out their lives on this floating island. The impending panic of the realization that the island is not only on a course to crash into the mountains, but seems to have picked up speed since your arrival here, has caused some panic amongst the townsfolk. We're also introduced to Nausics, the village elder, who seems perhaps a little less concerned about this than he maybe ought to. So that's sort of the rough overview of like what was going on. If memory serves, at the point we left off last time, Diyan and Vinaya had been talking with Nausics in the stone keep of Innean, where he had served a meal, and they had been discussing what was going on, and had succeeded at a contest to sort of pin him down and get a bit more out of him, which we will go into shortly. Winda had followed Feathershawl, who was still off scoping out ways that they might still gain access to the Primal Well, and some form of confrontation or I think was brewing there between Winda and Feathershawl. We'll see how that shakes out. And last but not least, Eljaal was talking with the townsfolk who were starting to kind of try and get together some sort of plans for managing the evacuation of the island. And those are kind of where we last saw people. So I'll kick off in a second. One of the things, like I said, we've kind of got these like three potential directions people are going at the minute. If at any point like you decide, actually I think I'm done with this particular character I'm engaged with, I want to go and do something else, that's cool. We'll work that as we go through. But that's sort of where we'll see you as we come in on things today. There was one other thing I was just thinking of, but I don't think it was important, and it has left. Oh, that was it. Everyone, as it's the beginning of the session, everyone will gain 1 plot point on top of whatever you already have. So you can feel free to update those on your character sheet.
Cool.
Awesome. So I think where I would like to start this evening is where we left off last time. So Winda, you had, as I said, Feathershawl had been kind of scoping out some of the buildings in town, was trying to work out a way that they might make an approach on the Primal Well. But I think that you were going to have words with them. Does that sound like a fair assessment of where we're at?
Yeah, I think so. I think I was trying to convince them that everyone needs to help the evacuation efforts, and we're looking for the Primal Well, and or taking it will probably worsen the problem. So let's go.
Yeah, sure thing, sure thing. So yeah, we'll break out into a contest here. So as a reminder, on our sort of dice rolling side of things, with a contest, generally speaking, the initiating player will make the first roll in this. I will then attempt to beat them with a roll from the opposing character. If they are successful, then we kind of go into a back and forwards between the two of you. So we'll start off by putting together your dice pool. So
Okay.
as before, we'll start off. You'll be picking one of your stats to bring into this. One of your attributes, I should say. Sorry. So agility, awareness, influence, blah blah blah. You'll be picking one of your values, one of the things that you think is something either related to the situation or your character's motivations around this, and then a distinction, which is one of the things that you bring to the table. If you also think that you have any specialities or assets you want to bring in, that is also cool. But
Yeah.
so I guess I'm going to. So what does Winda say? What does it look like when Winda is kind of trying to impress upon Feathershawl the importance of what she's saying?
Yeah, so Feathershawl is still sort of eyeing the walls and buildings and trying to find a way in. I feel like
that's
they're
right,
not really paying attention, and I think I even sort of like grab their feather shawl and give it a tug and just be like, "We have to go help. There's no time for this." And just like emphatically being like, "There's no discussion here. Like, let's go."
Awesome. So yeah. Which of your attributes do you think it applies to this situation?
It's probably influence, which is not great. It's a 6.
Yeah, that is fair.
And I'm gonna say devotion because like we have to help these people. That's an 8. That's a little bit better.
Yep.
I'm not sure any of my distinctions are gonna help on this one.
That is fine. Do you think that any of your distinctions here could maybe cause trouble? If so, you can gain another plot point and roll that as a D4 instead.
Yeah. Maybe foolhardy friend. If I'm just like, we have to ignoring the sort of obvious, like they're not here to help. Yeah.
Yeah, sure thing. That sounds good.
Cool.
So yeah, if you want to so yeah, you can mark another plot point, and yeah, if you want to make that rule. I've just had a quick look, and I think probably your specialities and assets probably don't feature into this right at this moment, but that could of course change if.
Cool. So that's a 4, 6, and 8.
Yep.
Let's roll those. There's my 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. There we go.
Oh dear, yeah. So I think I am going to activate that hitch that you've rolled. So that is I will give you another plot point.
Awesome.
And I think what I'm going to do here is I think I will inflict some stress upon you. So I feel like this would maybe be angry, but if you think one of the other stress types is more appropriate for how you see Winda responding to that is cool.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
Yeah.
So I bumped that up to a 6. Is that right?
That's right. Yep.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. So perfect. So yeah. That is, and I think Feathershawl kind of shrugs off, shrugs his shoulders, pulls you off a bit, and says, "You don't understand, girl, how important what we are doing here is. These people will, I am sure, be fine." And he is going to make his roll. I'm just going to quickly find his sheet because he actually has one. And
Beat that 5.
Yeah. I think we might see this one go get a bit of back and forth going. Hopefully, or maybe not. I have been known to roll very badly. So yeah. Unfortunately, this PDF is not bookmarked, so I'm having to do a lot of scrolling. Yes, here we go. So I think that he gets his yeah, I think he's going to be rolling with 3d8 on this from his various bits and pieces. So he does he is going to beat that roll that you made, but not as handily as he might have done. That is a total of 10 for him. As yeah, he's basically just kind of brushing you off, ignoring you largely as he continues on his own.
Does he even maybe like physically push me off since I'm sort of
yeah, I think he kind of shakes you off, sort of thing. He's probably not actually going to like aggressively push out at you at the moment, but he definitely is shrugging you off, turning his back on you. Cool. So what happens, or what the sort of the options that you have now at this point, now that we've kind of had a back and forward with you both, is that you can, if you wish, choose to concede defeat on your terms, and that will earn you another plot point. Or otherwise, you can roll the dice and see how it goes. You'll be presumably rolling the same dice pool again, unless you want to sort of up the stakes or do something a bit differently, in which case that's fine. And obviously you will have options too. I should also point out, like I said, we with the plot points that you do have a number of options for things you can spend them on.
Okay.
So obviously you might have a couple of things on your own character sheet, whether you'll have anything applicable for this circumstance. That is up to you. Well, so no, it's not up to you, but that's you can take a look at that. The other sort of more generic things that you have available to you is you can create a temporary asset. So this is sort of something. This is, if you've played any Fate at all, it's a bit like creating an aspect in Fate. It's basically coming up with something that gives you temporary bonus. You can also, once you actually made the roll, you can spend a plot point to keep an extra dice as well. So those sort of things are things that you could potentially draw on as well. But would you like to make your roll? Or is there anything else you want to?
Yeah, I think so. Tell me if this is cool. I think I'd like to run, like just sort of like, I assume he's like walking away from me, and if I dash in front of him, and I'm actually going to draw my crossbow on him, and give him some like, look. Just because I'm friends with Eljaal doesn't mean that I trust all of you. I don't think you have everyone's best interests in mind. So let's not get messy here. Come on, let's go.
Sure thing. Yeah, absolutely. You can totally pull that crossbow in as an asset for that role.
I think I'd be rolling pretty much everything else the same, though.
Yep, that sounds good.
Yeah, cool. So that's a D8 I'm adding there.
That's right, I think.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Boop. And roll that. My 2 hires are 6 and 4. Can I spend a plot point that gives me, lets me keep an extra one?
That's right. Yep.
I think I'm gonna do that then. Yeah, so I'll keep the 3, 4, and 6, making 13.
Yeah, perfect. So
Awesome.
you have now succeeded. You've beaten his result. So you've kind of put the ball back in his court, and I think at this point, he kind of puts he doesn't like put his hands up sort of thing, but he kind of puts a hand up in a sort of placatory fashion and says, look, perhaps I do owe you an explanation of what it is I'm doing here and why I am so driven to do what I'm doing, but I was a village elder for my people. I was entrusted with their care and their protection. I failed in holding back an invasion of terrible parasitic worms that have grown into the land we farm and are destroying our crops. They will wipe out our village in time. What I'm looking for here is we can rebuild. I can help my village get back on its feet again. We can from this the destruction of this island, which is inevitable. We can make something better for them. And that is why I must get my hands on the primal well. I am sorry if I seem callous, but perhaps you are right. Perhaps I can help these people with the immediate problem, but I need this item. I need this artifact. If you will help me get this once we have the people to safety, then I suppose I can help you now with the people of this village. Does that sound fair?
Absolutely. That's what we signed on for. You help us get the people to safety, and then the rest of us will get together and help you get the stone. And if the others won't, I will. But people first.
Awesome. Yeah, and he will. They will kind of nod, and they look a little that mixture of kind of both a bit like put out, but also kind of a bit guilty as well. But yeah, they will kind of follow you, and I think with that we will cut back over to Eljaal with the townsfolk are kind of, as I say, there are a number of people have different ideas of how they might sort of effectively evacuate the village as it comes into contact with the mountains. I'm just going to remind myself of the people who are here. So yeah, the elderly. I've lost. Oh, there we go. I was not seeing anything. The elderly Ponderous has suggested that maybe constructing hang gliders or some other means of aiding people with kind of a flight from the top. Alana has suggested essentially manhandling a bridge and other sort of construction stuff to essentially make like an escape ramp and stuff like this. There are probably other suggestions as well going around. So what's going to be going on here, just on the mechanical side of things, is that essentially the evacuation of the or the preparations for the evacuation of the village is what is called a challenge. So the way challenges work is you have there's essentially the challenge itself has like a pool of dice, which act as both dice of opposition against what you're trying to do, but also as a kind of timer on the challenge. So the idea with that is that each whenever you take an action, you will have the chance to reduce or lower one of the dice. Remove or lower one of the dice in that pool. Once all of the dice have been removed from that pool, the challenge is over, basically. So the way this works is that is again, it's sort of played in effectively in rounds. At the top of each round, I will make a roll to set the difficulty for that round. Anyone who is taking part will make rolls as they wish to kind of overcome that. There will be a bit of back and forwards in what happens to you as you're doing so. So that's the basic structure of it. Obviously, at the outset, this will just be Eljaal involved in this challenge, but as other people sort of emerge onto the scene, we can work them in sort of later rounds, essentially. But that's kind of how challenges work. They're designed for these sort of like slightly longer, more involved situations. But all that said, Eljaal, I'm going to ask what are you doing to kind of help prepare for this evacuation? And is there a particular goal you have in mind, or just doing some initial preparation?
I mean, I think probably just trying to get everyone on the same page, so Eljaal is going to maybe get the three elves together, I guess the three leaders that have emerged in the community, to agree on one or two things that we can definitely do in the time we have available, and maybe just to make sure that everyone in the vicinity is helping out with one of those two, instead of having everyone like scatter to do their own thing. And then I suppose just helping out. I don't know that they have any particular talents in terms of creating hang gliders or sky bridges or anything like that, but I can tie knots.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so that sounds good. A good place to start. So yeah, as I said, you've got Ponderous and Alana and Netcracks are all kind of people are listening to them, sort of thing. Netcracks is actually kind of is doing a similar sort of thing to do. He's kind of trying to mediate a bit more and trying to do what you're doing, but he seems very grateful for your assistance in this. But yeah, if you would like to build an initial pool of what you think would be appropriate for this sort of organizational efforts here.
Yeah,
oh, sorry. Actually, I tell a lie. Sorry. At first, I will roll to set the difficulty.
Okay.
But so currently, just so you're aware, actually, I didn't set up a thing to do this in the sheet, so I'm just going to do it in paper and let you know as I make adjustments. So currently, the challenge pool is 4d8. So basically, at the beginning of this round, I will roll those 4d8. I'll set the difficulty for you. And then you'll make a roll, and then essentially what's the significant thing in these rolls, other than just succeeding, is how your effect dice essentially will determine whether you can reduce or remove one of the dice from that pool. So I'm going to roll to set that, and that is I do have a I have rolled a, it's not called a hitch when I do it, an opportunity. So if you have anything that you can do specifically on an opportunity, or if you wish to spend a plot point to activate that in one of the generic ways, which is to step down one of your stress dice, step up an asset dice until the end of the scene, you may do so. You don't have to, though, if you want to hang on to that plot point for the moment.
Yeah, I think I'm relatively low on plot points, so
Yep.
I think I'll hold on to it.
Sure thing. But yes, the roll you are looking to beat, though, however, is a 9.
Okay. So I think I'm not sure that if this is. I mean, influence seems like the best attribute.
Yep, that sounds good.
Fit this. And I think in terms of working with people in this regard, probably devotion.
Yep.
Is the value I bring to bear.
That sounds good.
I I think, I mean, let me know what you think, but I imagine, strangely enough, being an assassin requires a lot of, preparation and teamwork in terms of like your initial moves. Maybe this past mission that Eljaal went on was unusual in that they were alone, but preparation at least seems like.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, so I was going to say, certainly from the actual TV series, it's it's definitely, the assassins is definitely shown as working as a kind of coordinated team. So yeah.
So I think that is enough. I don't think those specialties or assets are at all appropriate.
Yeah, that's probably fair at this point.
Okay, so D8, D8, D6. Okay, so that's pretty good. Not doubling your 9 by any, but I can match it on a 4 and a 5.
Yep. So you would need to beat to you actually have to get higher rather than equal to.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, you can still do that on a 4 and stuff. So I will say, sorry, the way that this works is essentially if you I'm just going to remind myself, if you, with the effect dice, I think it's if you no, sorry, yeah. With the effect dice, it's if the effect dice is higher or higher than the one of their dice in the pool, you can actually remove it entirely.
Okay.
Equal to or lower, you reduce it by you can reduce one of them by 1, so you can basically step it down so it's a D6 and then 3 D8s.
Yeah. So I guess I am matching it with my effect die D8. So I'll just bump you down one step.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, in this case, you didn't have enough dice to do so. But if you had 4 dice in your pool, you could have spent a plot point to add an additional effect dice to treat another dice as an effect dice to either remove or step down 2 dice in the pool. Obviously, not in this particular circumstance, but that is sort of an option for future use, perhaps. But cool. I think you kind of start getting a bit of agreement with the people. What do you think the your preferred approach at this point is? What do you think is the most effective way of getting people off the island?
I mean, hang gliders sound very cool, right? But I don't know how many hang gliders we can make. But maybe it would be like a if I think big, right, to get the entire village off, maybe it's combining the Skybridge idea with hang gliders to make like a giant cargo hang glider, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I like that a lot. That sounds awesome. Brilliant. Thank you. Cool. So we'll come back for more on the evacuation plan shortly. But yeah, I'm going to skip back over to Diyan and Vinaya, who are spending some time with Nausics, the village elder. And you are going to forgive me, very, very in character for Nausics, but I do not remember exactly what we had covered in our conversation last time, so I may repeat myself slightly. But I know that you had essentially got Nausics to the point where they were going to be a bit more open and frank about stuff with you, and sort of get to the point a bit. He kind of has sort of sat down and says, the thing is, my friends, the primal well has always been central to our village. I have been commissioned with safeguarding it, and I know that the fate of this village, of this island, is coming to an end. We will, but we need to be able to protect the primal well to get it out of here safely. That is something I have known for some time, but there are difficulties in doing so. You see, it's not as simple as just taking it out, and perhaps it would be better if I showed you, if the two of you would come with me, and it's just here in the keep. We don't have to travel far.
We are our guests, and we'll be happy to follow you wherever to see whatever you think we should see.
Is it okay if we talk while we walk to the stone?
Of course. By all means. Yeah, and he will begin to lead you. As I say, it's just another room in the keep, basically.
Does it seem like he's shuffling along, or it's a stall, or is he actually kind of really bringing us there in a
he seems to be walking at a sort of normal pace. He's doesn't seem to be doing anything like to deliberately delay you.
While we walk, I think I might ask him, do people ever leave the island for errands or visits to other parts of Xadia?
No.
Does that happen?
No, we have not. No one has left in even in my memory. The winds that keep the island aloft make it difficult to fly out. I think perhaps in days gone by, they had some means of circumventing that. Perhaps just when more of us had natural wings and were more proficient flyers, it's difficult to say. But I'm certainly there are always rumors. Someone says someone has gone off to explore the world, but no one has come back. Put it that way. No one has left the island and come back in my memory.
Well, it might make sense that it's kind of easy to get off the island to, I don't know, jump with and glide down, but I assume going back up might be more of a challenge without the means of Feathershawl.
Indeed. I think you might be right. And he will lead you. You will see. He will say the well itself is through there, and you can see there's a sort of in a stairwell. There's a big shimmering wall of light. A sort of blue glowing barrier of some variety. Says the primal well is contained beyond that ward, but do come in here. So, sorry, did you? I wasn't sure if did you want to say something there? I wasn't sure if I just cut out. No, cool. Sorry.
My throat is still a bit. So I might.
Yeah. No worries. Cool. So yeah, he will. he will say, I knew, of course, that this collision with the mountains was inevitable. We have not been able to steer the island, control its direction for, again, within my memory. I have been working at a way that I might remove the well from where it sits. But it has proven difficult, as I said. I am bound to an oath that prevents me from touching the primal well, you see. And if I were to do so, it would destroy me.
Would it destroy somebody else as well? Or just you? What is the well, actually? I mean, what does it do? Is it a big orb or a ring, or is it a literal well? So in that case, I don't know where are you going to carry it around?
It is a... it is a... How to
maybe start with
describe
something
it.
simple. What's its shape and size?
Yes, it is a relatively large object. It is, and he'll kind of, begin sort of describing with his hands as well as he speaks, and he says the well looks like a bear with me 1 second. I'm just trying to read an accurate description of it somewhere. It is hiding from me. But yeah, he kind of describes that it is a relatively large sort of crystalline structure. It's geometrically carved. It sits in a kind of a sort of socketed platform in a pedestal in the chamber that and it is the way it channels magic makes it difficult to approach without serious risk to the person touching it. I have been trying to circumvent these restrictions around it, you see. What I am going to give you here is he is at this point, you would absolutely pick up on this, Vinaya. He is clearly being like deliberately evasive at this point. There is definitely something that he is holding back here. That you pick up on. You absolutely could press him further on it though if you wish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I will. I think I'll say, what is it about the stone that has you most concerned? What is it really we need to know about if we're going to be of help?
I have an item that I believe will allow someone to touch the well safely.
And what will touching the well do? It sounds like there's a way to steer the island again if one can touch the well, or what is the kind of sequence here that you're trying to get at?
I just wish to be able to take it with us when we leave.
Gotcha.
Of course, yes. I mean, this is your property. I personally, and I don't think Vinaya, with who I went through many adventures, have any desire to challenge that. We came here expecting this place to be empty, and I'm a bit frustrated with Feathershawl not being entirely straightforward with us, or at least that's the way it feels. But so again, I have no desire to take the well from you. On the contrary, we wish to help you to take it out of its place so you can take it along. However, Vinaya, please let me, I'm just sprouting ideas here, but Feathershawl seems to have studied texts which are on the ground level about this thing, and he might have some answers. It might be of help to move it. So why making it very clear that in no way the well should be taken away from its rightful owners, which are you, and I turn to the old man. Maybe some kind of arrangement with him could be, positive for everyone involved. Make sure that we can move this thing safely and promptly, and everybody's happy. But yeah, I don't know, Vinaya. What first, Vinaya? What do you think of that? And please, wise man, how would you feel about that?
I know it's a difficult decision to trust us, and a lot of work to do to save the village and take the stone with us, but you remind us a lot, I think, of our queen Anya, very wise and brave, and this is the time, it seems like, for you to show that those great skills of you as a leader. So if you can, please, let's think about how we can work together, and tell us more about this object that you say can help touch the stone.
I kneel and I say, as a soldier of the garden of our queen, I will pledge on making sure that the well remains with you, and whatever terms you agree with Feathershawl are abided to.
Excellent. So I think we're going to break into another contest here to get a bit more information out of Nausics. So I think what I'm going to do here is I would probably suggest what this sounds like to me is that I think maybe if Diyan, if you would maybe like to make I think this sounds like you offering to assist Vinaya in this. So what you can do is basically, I will set a difficulty for a roll. You can roll against that, and if you succeed, you can give your effect dice to Vinaya to add into their contest roll, essentially, by kind of backing their play up. So I will make that initial. It won't be particularly difficult here because I think he's already kind of inclined to listen to you. So that is a 9 is what you're looking for, but. Yes, so if you would like to assemble your dice pool with what you think here.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking for, where was the link? Was it in our
Oh,
first email?
sorry. No worries. I'll copy the we've got the couch keeper call. So yeah, sorry, just putting that into chat now. That is the dice roller there.
Yay. It's loading. So I assume that would be either justice or devotion.
Yeah, I think either of those could be good. I think devotion definitely sounds right in this one. Justice could work too. Attributes wise, I'd say probably either influence or spirit, whichever you think feels more appropriate here.
Okay, so spirit. Okay. Would my soldier of the garden apply?
Absolutely, yeah. You brought that in nicely. So yeah, that sounds good.
So is that a second D8? Is
So
that correct?
Yeah,
Or
I
is-
think
yeah.
so. Yeah, it will
Can have
be
several.
Yeah, that's right. I think it will be 2 D8 and 1 D10, unless any of your probably not your any of your specialities in there.
Yeah, and when I say the words I mentioned, and if I can, I'd like to hold my Uranian spear above my head in a way which is really, it's ceremonial, but it's really the way it says where you could grab hold of my spear, I've submitted to you, and it's nicely carved. It's sort of kind of making things official. So I'd like to use my assets if I'm allowed.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that sounds good.
Okay, so that's a neat little pool. I think I'm gonna go with that. So for the sake of information, that's 1 D10 and 3 D8s.
Perfect.
So I'm rolling. So
yeah, that's
nice.
That's a very convincing roll there. Yeah.
So, I'm gonna take the 2 8s, so that's 16,
Oh, wow.
and I'm using my D10 as my effect.
Yeah, perfect. And I believe because you got that, you beat their difficulty by more than 5. You get to step that D10 up to a D12. So
ouch.
Yeah. So excellent. So that means Vinaya, you will have a D12 asset from Diyan's assistance in your role.
Fantastic.
And yeah, if you would like to make that roll now, and then I will make Nausics roll in response.
Yeah, so I think I would do influence as my attributes. That's a 10. The truth as the value, which is another 10. Stop me if I'm doing this wrong. I think I'd probably skip the distinctions and just throw in the 6-sided die for diplomacy as the specialty.
I think your Herald of the Queen definitely comes into play here as well, and you explicitly called that out in your description as well. I think so. Yeah,
that's right. So that would just be throwing in a D8, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Great, great. Without having to spend a plot point necessarily. With
Yeah,
those
that's right.
extra pieces. Gotcha. And then I just go ahead and roll, right?
Yeah, that's right. And and obviously, and the D12 as well from Diyan on your roll.
Oh, I'll just do it. I'll just
Yeah, you can just roll the D12. Yeah.
There.
Cool. Yeah, that's nice. So you can. I am going to activate that one that you rolled. So I am going to. I'm going to check what I can do on that again. Yeah, I think I am going to. Do you have any stress currently?
Yeah, I was up at a 6 for anger.
Yeah, I am going to spend that hitch to up your angry stress to an 8.
Yep.
This is probably maybe not something that's going to come across immediately, but probably will definitely be rolled, I think, into the reaction on this. But yeah, the I think Nausics is definitely looking. You can kind of see him like melting to your words to some extent. I'm going to make his roll now, but I think he is helpful to. I think this will be. Yeah. Yep. He is your words win him over, or cause him to open up, and he says, I've had commissioned an armored breastplate made by our village smith Fushen. It is in its current incarnation, it is untested, and I do not yet know if it will work this time. The volunteers who have tried to help me in the past, the magics protecting the primal well, have turned them all to stone. There are several of the villagers over the years have tried to assist me in this, and every one of them has been petrified. I have every hope that this new design will succeed where the others have failed, but I have not yet had another volunteer to test it.
And what is it about a armored breastplate that you think will do the trick?
It is designed to channel the magics that surround the primal well and divert them away from the wearer. As I say, this I hope that this time that will work.
I fear no battle. I fear no challenge. If anything happens to me, you will be in debt to my queen. But I volunteer for that next experiment.
Thank you. That is most kind of you. I hope that you will be well, and I sincerely regret all of those who have not survived the trial in the past. But I have faith in you, Sir Knight.
So if I might suggest, I think we together as a team can come back to get with the breastplate, retrieve the stone. For now, shall we go work on the priority of getting the villagers to safety? And then have enough time so that we can have enough time to then also meet up with them with the stone.
Yes, I suppose that is sensible. We must protect. We must protect those who still live. I suppose that is the most important thing. You're right. I've let my devotion to my cause distract me from that task. Cool. And I think we're just coming past the hour now, so I think that is where we'll take our first break. So if we want to come back at 10 past, say, and then we'll pick up with the evacuation as people come back together. Cool. I'll speak to you all in a moment.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Cool. Excellent. So it looks like people are kind of convening back with various NPCs in tow to one extent or another. So yeah, I think as you all arrive back, the villagers appear to be working industriously on some sort of engineering project under the supervision of Eljaal. Before we get back into like the swing of rolling dice and the like, I would like to give you all a moment to just kind of touch base with one another, both for whether that be for purposes of sharing information or just a bit of role play. So yeah. So I guess I'll actually ask Eljaal. What's obscene are the others presented with as they kind of make their way back towards the if not the center of the village, at least the center of the activity.
Yeah, I think the others will see Eljaal perched improbably on top of some kind of scaffolding or frame for this giant hang glider. And maybe they are tightening some ropes or knots, or maybe just directing some others to do some work, but again looking definitely defying the laws of physics in terms of how deftly or lightly they step on the beams up there.
Has Winda and Feathershawl also appeared on the scene? Is everyone back?
Yeah, that's right. They'll be kind of arriving back a roughly similar time to yourselves.
Yeah, I think I would probably approach Eljaal, who seems to be in the middle of the action, to see what he might report, and maybe wait for the others to kind of gather around, maybe gravitate towards them, sort of get the story of what the village group's working on.
I hope you had a nice cup of tea with the mayor, Vinaya.
We did. We eventually got some information about the magic that powers this island. Apparently, there's the stone that Feathershawl is looking for. It's dangerous to touch, turns you to stone, but they think they might have a way around it. In any event, we convinced Nilkrax to focus for now on getting people off the island so that we might help him dislodge this thing later.
This is the very thing that we are doing right now here. A few of the elves here have some various ideas, which are quite fascinating, on how to escape the impending doom of this floating island. And between them, I think they've concocted this strange machine to fly us all safely to the ground.
Is Feathershawl with us now at this point? Would he be coming over?
Yeah, he's definitely here. He's probably still, or they're probably still making they're a bit of a distance, I think, still from the main thing. But they are clearly watching the construction of this glider with some interest.
Yeah, I imagine I shoot them in that direction. Like, go. Let's get it done.
So, do we notice that Winda's crossbow is out, or has she disappeared it back on her?
It's back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't march them back. It's just punctuation on my point.
Actually, Diyan would probably get closer to Winda and ask her, Winda, did you keep an eye on Feathershawl? Do you know what
I sure did.
She's up to? I'm a bit worried. We definitely need her knowledge, but I'm afraid I'm not. I'm not entirely trust that person.
Yeah, that worry is well placed. I followed them for a short while, and they seem to be primarily interested in the well, as opposed to the safety of the city's inhabitants. And I encouraged them to help with the evacuation effort, and maybe promised that we would help them get it when we were done.
Well, okay, let's hope
I wonder if Feathershawl's magic might help with the evacuation.
That's what I was hoping.
Probably.
I kind of like cast a glance towards them and see, like, like, are they helping or just hanging out?
They will be helping with the in fact, you probably see them doing something of a magical nature over, particularly I think over the body of this giant glider, the sort of the support structure, as it were. They're murmuring and working some sort of magical spell over it.
Eljaal, is there anything that we could do to help?
Well, yeah, I think Eljaal will give you kind of a brief introduction to the kind of main leaders in this project, so Siftres and Olana and Pandaris, and what their particular skills are. So maybe Siftres, who's I think a minor mage, might be able to help or reinforce whatever magic Feathershawl is enacting. Yeah, but I think, I mean, Eljaal seems a little bit like he's not whatever advice that the others can give them is going to be well received, because they are not exactly sure that they are an engineer. They're just really kind of helping everyone along with the plan. So they kind of shrug in a jovial, haphazard kind of way at your offer to help, and go, oh yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it'll work out, but there's a lot of people for a hang glider to hold, so magic might be the only way for this thing to actually work.
Well, I will keep an eye on things then.
I think it might be time to talk to Feathershawl and let them know that we've seen the primal well.
You've seen the
And
primal well.
We've seen it, and we can. In talking to the mayor, he is willing to talk about how we might work together to get it off of here. But that the sooner we get everyone off the island, the sooner we can get to that part of the mission. So
I agree.
if a moonbeam or anything else might be available, that will get everyone closer to their objective here.
Would it be worthwhile, do you think, to have Feathershawl talk to the elder?
That's what we suggested. That they should come to an agreement for Feathershaw have maybe not everything you wanted, but some, some kind of access in exchange for their knowledge.
It sounds like they want to use the magic of the well to help their people, their village. I don't know if I believe them entirely, but it did seem sincere. So let's do what we can.
I think that might work out.
Yeah, well, the people, they will need a home of some kind of holding place. So maybe those could come together to work towards the betterment of their situation.
I like the way you think.
Well, if I go get Nerax, if you get Feathershawl, we can bring them together right now.
That sounds like a fantastic plan. I'll see if he's busy.
I will try to make myself useful. In the meantime, you've put something quite impressive into place here, Eljaal.
Maybe, but yeah, here's hoping. I mean, it's not really my plan. It's the ladies here who are doing all the planning. I'm just helping out.
Sorry, is that Winda or is that someone else? When you said the lady.
Oh, the three elves who are here who had all different plans. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I think what we'll do now is we'll dip back into the challenge portion of this getting this evacuation underway. I will. I'll check in first. Actually, this time I think with yourself, Diyan, as we. As you just sort of joined in to help. So again, yeah, just as a reminder, I will in a second, I will make another roll to set up the initial difficulty for this challenge. You can then narrate what you are doing to try and overcome it. We'll build or to help in the efforts. We'll build up your dice pool, see how that goes. Once you have done your turn, essentially, you can then choose which player goes next, and we'll work around until everyone who's involved has had a chance to go. Then we'll see where we get to from there. So I will start off with the initial difficulty for this round, and this difficulty will be the same for everyone participating. So it will be 1d6, as that was reduced by Eljaal last time, and 3d8 remaining. I'm going to that. So I have rolled an 11 is my difficulty. I'm actually not sure how activating opportunities in a challenge works, but if you do wish to, then you may do so, and we can work something out from that. as I have rolled a single one. But yep.
I mean, I'm just happy to describe what I was planning to do, and then you
Yep.
can tell me how it turns into in terms of mechanics.
Yeah,
So
that sounds good.
what Diane wanted to go is go off around the island. I think he will even request a mount to cover more ground, but he's got some kind of knowledge of agriculture, and looking at the plans which are scheming, hopefully he would know some materials or resources which could be used for that purpose. So he plans to go around farms and instruct people to gather those resources and materials. I mean, could be feathers, could be tops, pieces of fabrics, or weird animals which could have a use. I don't know if we tie 20 goose to a to a net, if it can help us, Baron Munchausen style. But doing so, on one hand, is putting into practice is soldier, organizational skills. But at the same time, as he's a Duranian free folk, I would say he does so in a fashion which is, he's not a noble, he's a man of the people. So he hopefully comes across in a rather approachable manner. So that's, I'm going backwards, starting with the distinctions. But beyond that, I guess either awareness or intellect, and mastery, which is not his highest things, but yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking awareness sounded like the appropriate one for that, like finding stuff. So yeah, I think awareness, mastery, and yeah, well, I said either of those distinctions works really. I think so. Yeah.
Oh, it's either. I was trying to get.
Yeah, it is one, only one, sadly. Yeah.
That's okay. Otherwise, it would be excessive. I still got my agriculture.
Yep.
So
Yep, that's right.
2d8s and 1d6.
It would be 2d6, won't it? I think, because your mastery as well. Mastery and the agriculture, so that's 2d6, and then 2d8 for awareness and your distinction. So I think that's.
So okay, great. Okay, let's roll that and see what happens. It's not as good as the previous one. What did you say the target was?
So the target is now I have to find that. The target is 11. So
okay, cool.
Yeah,
perfect. So I use my 4 and 7. So that's 1d8 and 1d6 for my to reach 11, and I've got 1d8 left for my effect.
Unfortunately, you actually have to beat rather than match with this.
Okay.
So what you what you could do though is you could spend an additional you could spend a plot point to bring in an additional dice onto an additional dice into that total, which would bring you above, or that would be the only way you would of succeeding at the roll at this stage.
Sure, I'm gonna do that. So what type of dice do I add? I mean, does it matter?
So you would basically add the 2 onto that result to bring you up to a 13 in total as a success. So I will also be activating that that hitch that you rolled, that 1. So you will spend a plot point, but you will also gain a plot point back after the roll. And I would like you to. I think actually I'm going to ask you to mark a stress again. I think, and whichever one you think would be appropriate. I could see exhausted or injured coming about if you kind of overexert yourself.
Yeah, exhausted. You say again, did I mark a stress for something before? Because
no, I don't think you did. Someone else did, but yeah, no, I don't think that you did so far. So that's cool.
So yeah, I pushed myself too hard, and I'm very tired from running and around.
Yep, but you will be able to So basically what will happen is you'll get kind of a pseudo dice, a pseudo d4 in as your effect dice. So you can either reduce down one of the d6s to a d4, or one of the d8s. Well, sorry, the d6 to a d4, or one of the d8s to a d6. Do you have a preference for which of those you would do?
A D8 to a D6.
Yeah, cool. Perfect. Brilliant. Yep. So that's you. And now you get to choose who goes next.
I think I'd like Eljaal to go next.
Okay. So I don't know whether there's an opportunity to kind of mix up the challenge a little bit in terms of what I'm rolling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you want to take a slightly different approach this time, that's absolutely fine. Yes, you're essentially building a new dice pool each go round. So yeah.
Just so I'm not running the exact same thing every time.
Yeah, exactly.
So I wonder if, based on my intro, so the way our companions got to see Eljaal perched up there, that maybe this is something a bit more agile, or something with a little bit more to their strengths. If that works.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So yeah, I think Eljaal is maybe just being like the point of contact for this construction, and being perched up, tying everything together, or fixing the tarp, or what have you, to make the wings. So I think we'll make this agility, and then I'm not sure, maybe I wonder, maybe glory is a good thing to, given that in their mind, at least, the others were a little bit surprised to see Eljaal in the middle of all this, so it's something that they're not used to. And I don't know, maybe this is exactly what a Moonshadow elf should be doing. I think, given that we saw Feathershawl see exactly what Eljaal was doing when they arrived, maybe this is not maybe this is a little bit out of the Moonshadow playbook.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that sounds like it would work.
Okay, so that is D10 2D8. Okay, so I rolled a 1 on one of those D8s, and an 8 and a 6.
Sure thing. So yeah, I am also going to activate that hitch on you. So if you would like to take a plot point, and again, I'm at the minute, I'm just going to go straight up for inflicting stress. If again, whichever you feel is most appropriate, I think, given how you see this going, but you will succeed at the roll.
Yeah, I think maybe a little bit afraid, because I mean, the plan is all very well, but this is still a heavier than air object that's going to be hurtling out of a flying mountain. I mean, we're all going to die, right?
Picture the sweat.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, that's cool.
I think maybe Eljaal is singing a sad song, a soon-to-be mourning song, as they work.
Awesome. I like it. So yeah, again, what will happen here is that you will essentially get a pseudo D4 as your effect dice. because you've sort of used up the 2 dice in the result, and the 1 never counts as a dice for purposes of building pools. But that will, as before, you can either reduce a d6 to a d4 or a d8 to a d6, whichever you would rather.
I think I'll follow suit and
Cool.
reduce one of those d8s to a d6.
Perfect. So yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, you are able to sort of work on this thing, and it's clearly sort of starting to come together. I had something else that I was just thinking. Oh yeah, there's just reminded me because I saw that Mark just posted this, but yeah, the other thing that you can do as well, everyone can do, is when you have stress, when you have a stress dice, normally what will happen is in when people are rolling dice opposing you, they will get to add that dice of your stress in against you if that sort of works against you in that circumstance. But what you can also do voluntarily, if you wish, is you can spend a plot point to add your stress dice to your roll when you make it. The only downside to that is that once that has happened, after that roll has happened, that stress dice gets stepped up by 1 as you kind of put yourself in. I believe that Diyan has a much better version of that, where when they spend a plot point to add a stress dice to a test, afterwards they actually step it down by 1. So they actually kind of get better by throwing themselves into things. But yeah, that's another option that's out there. But cool, that's awesome. Thank you. And who are you going to nominate to go next?
Let's see, Vinaya, I think, in action next.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, great. So is this to work on the hand glider, or is
anything else that you think will help towards like evacuating people from the island, which maybe work on the hand glider, or if you think your talents could be better focused elsewhere, that's cool as well.
Sure. Yeah, I think I would probably focus on brokering the introduction to start with between Feathershawl and unless that's getting too ahead of ourselves.
No, I think that's a good idea. If not at least just for the fact that that they are probably going to be very, very wary of each other at the minute and probably not likely to be working well. So kind of making at least some sort of like, hey, look, just for the moment, put everything aside while we get this sorted. That would be a way forward, I think. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I think I would do that, and maybe with Winda's help, sort of just seeing about trying to get them introduced in a cordial way, and reminding them that it's an opportunity to help elves overall by first getting folks off the island.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds good. So yeah, if you would like to again, I'm going to make this up. This is probably going to be off of influence as you're trying to kind of work with the 2 of them. Which of your values do you think is coming into play here?
Let's see. That's going to be mastery might be the best.
Yeah, I can see that. It's this is you. This is you doing what you're doing your job. You are a diplomat. This is kind of bread and butter for you, as it were. So yeah.
Sure. Yeah, so like works. the 10 for influence on the attributes, the 8 for mastery, the 8 for Herald of the Queen, which I think is probably relevant here.
Yeah, I think so.
And then diplomacy would be the 6.
Yep, that sounds good.
You'd roll that. Another 1.
Ooh, so
my anger is boiling over, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to hit that plot point to bump the anger up by 1. And yeah, so again, with the dice you have remaining, you will not succeed with just 2. you would scrape a success if you spent a plot point to increase your result to add 3 dice to your result. Or you can take the fail if you wish. That's also.
I'll go ahead and burn a plot point, but that means I need to. It's not simply burning a plot point. I also need to further suffer on the stress scale here, or is it just burning?
No. For this, it's just burning a plot point, so you can basically add the second D8 essentially into your result roll. So you're adding a 5, 4, and 3 together to give you a 12.
I'll do that. I'll go ahead and go in here and reduce my plot point to 1 then.
So you again have that sort of pseudo D4 in from to your effect. So once again, you can either, if you wish, decrease a D6 to a D4 or the last remaining D8 to a D6.
I'll do the D8 to a D6.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, that is we're now the challenge dice pool is now down to 4d6, and they should be considerably easier to remove now as well. Awesome. Yeah, so I think how this looks is the Feathershawl and Nausics are still clearly suspicious of each other. They are not friendly, but they are working together on this. They are sort of doing what needs to be done, even if they're not necessarily happy with it. So yeah, awesome. And then yes, it will be over to Winda for our last action of this round.
Yeah, I think after getting Feathershawl over for the meetup, probably the best thing I could help with would be to help the other elves sort of, get their belongings out of their places and sort of gather their children and chickens and friendly pigs and whatnot, and get them to sort of like help corral people and help them get ready to go.
Yeah, awesome.
I'm not sure what attribute that would be. Maybe spirit?
Yeah, I can see spirit working for that. Yeah, sort of just being putting yourself into it sort of thing. Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess devotion, probably helping folks out.
Yep, that's that certainly works.
And I don't know if I have anything else that can help with that. Might just be those two.
Yeah, I suppose I'd argue that maybe the Delbarian Hinterlander might be something you could bring into this, because you are
used to packing up and going.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
Or alternatively, if you think one of them could cause a problem in this circumstance, you could invoke it as a D4. But yeah, I think the Hinterlander one could well work.
Yeah, I think that'll work. I have to remember that I could use the distinctions for the D8 instead of having to activate. So
yeah,
I'll take that.
That's cool.
So that is a D6 and 2 D8s.
Yep.
Cool. And 3, 5, 6. So 11 is the high.
Yeah. So again, that's only a match at this stage, so will not succeed. As ever, if you wish to bring in that third dice to bring it up, you can.
Yeah, I'm going to burn a plot point for that.
Yep, sure thing. That's cool. So yeah, you will get a success there. Currently, there is you're at 4 D6s, so one of those D6s will drop down to a D4.
Cool.
And I will roll for the next round of the challenge. And at this point, you can feel the island is starting to shake, almost like from turbulence as you're getting closer to the mountain range. You're moving for an island. For a floating island moving through the sky, you're moving at a fair clip by this point. still not. It's still not. You know, if you got kind of the speed camera gun out, it probably wouldn't be rating that moving that fast. But certainly from where you are, it feels more than fast enough. The mountain range is, as I said, you know, looming large on the horizon now. You're clearly against the clock on this. But I will roll to see how difficult your next stage is. Okay, so that is a 9 in total. And so, does anyone wish to take the first action? If not, I will pick someone. Cool. In which case, I think I would. I'll go back to Eljaal, I think, and see what they are up to.
Okay. So yeah, I think maybe we have got a lot of the groundwork done, and we've gotten some more raw materials from Diyan, and maybe some extra bits and pieces from the others. And yeah, I think maybe this is maybe a bit of grunt work, to help in the construction, and maybe to move it into a place before it gets too big to move, so let's go with strength on this one.
Cool. Yep.
And devotion, I think, again, kind of teamwork to get everyone on the same page. And yeah, I think a song is good to get everyone working in tandem, right? So
yeah, get a good shanty going.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's 3d8. Is this?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay. So that is I rolled one, but a 12 otherwise.
Excellent. So yeah, perfect. You will succeed. Again, yeah, I'm going to go with inflicting another. I think probably. What did you go for last time? Yeah, you went for afraid. Yeah, I think I'm going to step your afraid up to a D8. I think that makes sense. As the things are clearly coming down to the wire at this point. So again, sorry.
Maybe as we get close to the edge where we're moving the glider to, the scale of our drop becomes all too evident, and the memory of stepping up those moon shadow steps kind of comes back.
Yeah, awesome. And yes, so yeah,
I guess they're all D6s, right? So stepping one of them then to a D4.
Well, there is a D4, so you could either drop off the D4 or step a D6 down to a D4, whichever you feel is more useful.
Yeah, I think let's get rid of a die.
Yep, yeah. Cool. Yep, so down to 3d6 now. Awesome. Brilliant. Yeah. And who would you like to see go next?
Yeah, let's see Winda next.
Cool. Yeah, I think I'm also just sort of helping to tie up loose ends, sort of crawling around the whatever rigging there is, helping carry stuff to the glider and whatnot, and just sort of helping hands wherever helping hands are needed. So let's see. Strength, I guess.
Yeah, I'd say either potentially strength or agility you could call for there, but I think you have the same in both. So yeah.
Yeah. And I guess I'm gonna go for mastery with my climbing. I think so maybe top of the rigging.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
And I don't know if Delbarian Hinterlander is appropriate there, but
I'd say actually, if you're swarming around in the rigging, Foolhardy Friend might be a good one there. You know, you're
yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
That's 3 8s and a 6.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool. My D6 is a 1, and I have a 10 otherwise.
Cool. So that the 10 is enough to succeed. You
and
will
D8 is an effect dice.
D8 and an effect dice, so you can knock out one of those remaining D6s.
Yep,
So we're now
let's do
down
it.
to 2D6. Again, I think I'm probably going to. What do we have? What is your
Exhausted feels right.
Yeah, exhausted sounds good. Yeah, you can have some exhausted stress.
Pop into 6. Cool.
Nice. So we will then. Then you get to nominate who goes next.
Oh yeah, let's do Vinaya.
I think for my next action, I think I might just ask Feathershawl directly to what kind of magic in terms of moonbeam or what have you they can deploy to help with the evacuation, so we can get to the matter of the stone. And so I think first I would take the time to take 3 long, deep breaths to control my growing frustration and anger at both Feathershawl and Nerax for their various not helpfulness over the course of the day. And after I've done that, I think I will appeal to just ask the direct question of Feathershawl. What kind of magic can help us get these people to safety faster, so we can get on with the whole story here.
Yeah, sure thing. So yeah, I think for that, if you're again probably your influence there. Again, I'd say that you could probably make a case there for intellect, but again, same dice for both of those. So that is fair. Which of your values do you think is?
Yeah, I think it could be either justice or mastery, but I think either way it's an 8. Justice in terms of getting someone to appeal to do the right thing.
I think so. Yeah.
And then diplomacy. I don't know if my distinctions apply or not here. Maybe not. I guess this is pretty important. So I might go ahead and spend my last plot point to double my influence.
Sounds good.
Which means I would. When I say double, does that mean I'm adding another 10, or am I doing a 20?
You're adding another D10. Yeah, that's right. Rolling 2D10. Yeah.
Let me do that and take away my plot point in just a second. And then I guess diplomacy would get thrown in there. And then I'd roll.
Sure thing. Ooh, that is not great.
I'm falling apart.
Yeah, I think I've got to bump that anger up. Definitely with the one. So get a pop point back for that at any rate. Although if I think actually though this will be a failure because you can't spend a plot point that you gain on that action if that makes sense. So yeah, we have our first actual failed roll, which means that essentially they get to use their effect dice to inflict stress on you. So yeah, and I think that's going to be once again. I'm going to push on that anger. Let's get some big dice out there on the table. As I think. Yeah, I think that Feathershawl says, look, Vinaya, I've already worked some lightning charms on the glider that should help it to remain airborne for longer. But this really is not my area of expertise. It's your man Nausics there who should be leading on this. If he's a sky mage, these are his people, and if you ask me, he's not doing enough to help. And he's they're going to sort of go off in a bit of a huff, yes, storm away from you. Awesome. How does Vinaya react to that?
I wouldn't say she has a meltdown, but she's she's not really able to, considering I think her stress may be pushed beyond 12 at this point.
I think that pushes it to 12, yes.
Yeah, okay.
If I've been keeping count, so yeah.
I think she just, throws her arms up in the air and just, says, well, that doesn't get us any closer to what any of us are trying to get done on this island. Awesome. Not her best day.
Awesome. Brilliant, thank you. And then I think that means it's round to Diyan for our last action of this round.
So if it's appropriate for it to happen within that specific challenge, I think it's time for Diyan to maybe wear that breastplate and try to see if the well can be moved.
Probably not as part of this challenge. No, that's probably something to address. Yeah, address later. Yeah.
Okay. I think I will go see Vinaya, and I will talk to her and say, Vinaya, I can see you're upset by your interaction with Feathershawl and our hosts. I know it's tough to deal with people, especially when you don't have the authority or they don't have the discipline to follow instructions, but we need to double down. We need to stay true to ourselves and keep our eyes on the goals, on the task which is at hand. We've been through a lot together. I know I can count on you, but you need to calm down a bit. People can tell that you're upset, and we need your resourcefulness.
Well, no, it's true, Diyan. You're always there to keep me a little bit more balanced. Maybe then what we can do is, given what Feathershawl has mentioned about Necrax, see if Necrax, we might convince him to make the next move to convince Feathershawl that he is doing what he can.
And Diyan will also hand you here's a jelly tart. You're not yourself when you're hungry.
Awesome. And I think what I'm going to say here is that if you would like to, I haven't touched on this yet, but this sounds like you are trying to help Vinaya reduce their stress. You can do so by the way this works is essentially, again, you make a dice pool and roll as normal, based on how you think you're doing it. You'll be, so this will be potentially a difficult one. I will roll the difficulty for this. The difficulty for this will be 2d12 because it's based basically on what their current stress level is at. That is that's a tough one. So it's a difficulty of 20. Vinaya is very angry. But so the way this works is that you get to make a test against that difficulty as normal. If you succeed, you then reduce that depending on what your effect dice is. Reduce their stress based on what their effect dice is. But yeah, we'll assemble the dice pool first. Excuse me. What attribute do you think Diyan is drawing on here?
I would just say first, Diyan faced many battles, but an angry Vinaya is still one of the most terrifying challenges he has to face. I think we'll use his spirit.
Yep, that sounds good. Yeah.
Then devotion.
I'd say devotion. Yeah, that's sort of about your commitment to your friends and the like. So yeah.
So hang on. Said spirit, so that's a D8. Devotion, that's a 10. I mean, I brought the discipline and the fact being a soldier, working as part of a corps, you know how to motivate people or influence them somehow.
Yep, absolutely, yeah.
That's one extra D8.
Yeah, that is cool. If you wish, you can, as I say, you can spend a plot point to add your exhausted in as a dice as a dice in your pool, though you do not have to if you don't want to, but that is an option you have available to you.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. He's doing something which is not physical right now. He's spending a bit of time with Vinaya, with a friend. So I think he could recover through that. So I'm going to spend one. That means I got my exhausted D6 added to my pool.
That's right. Yep.
Okay. So that's 2D8, 1D10, and 1D6. If I got things right. All right, let's go. So what did you say it was, the difficulty?
20, unfortunately. I rolled very high, so...
Oh, yeah, 20. Oh, wow. That was pretty much impossible.
Yeah. It was going to be a tough one.
Diyan is still facing even the impossible. It's resolute like that. But it still brings back my exhausted from D6 to 0 then.
Yep, it does indeed. It does indeed.
Actually, do you mind? Yeah, I would have preferred to keep it.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. No, we can do so. That's not a problem. Yeah, that's not a problem.
Yeah,
I don't mind.
It might be useful later, and since it was impossible.
Yeah. No, that's fine. That's fine. That's
right.
That's no problem.
Okay, so I tried.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Awesome. So what we'll do is we'll have our very last round, because I think it's highly unlikely this will take any longer now. I will. So only 2d6 remain in the pool, and the difficulty is 4 for this round. So actually, I'm going to ask. I probably should have done this last time as well. Diyan, would you like to choose who goes first in this round? Sorry, that was to you, Diyan. Would you like to choose which player goes first in this round of the challenge?
Sorry, what?
I was saying, would you like to choose who goes first in this round of the challenge?
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Yeah. I'm curious to see Vinaya still in her state of anger. What she's up to right after I left her. Maybe I've been bothering her more than anything.
What is before she decides what to do? What is Necrax doing right now? What's his reaction to everything that's coming out?
Oh, sorry. So Necrax, sorry, is the captain of the guard.
I'm sorry. I meant I kept saying him instead of Nausics.
Yeah.
Right.
Nausics is. He's like keeping an eye on things, but he's still being a bit like, you can basically, he is still clearly, he is helping out, he is giving advice and stuff, but he is still kind of holding himself in reserve a bit. He's still kind of keeping an eye on Feathershawl to an extent. Though I said he is pitching in a bit, but yeah.
I think I might, with sort of a leading question, try to kind of indirectly nudge Nausics into more active leadership here, just by asking him, what do you think the villagers would, what do you think would make them more successful right now? Sort of maybe, see if that might do anything to spur them on a little bit as we prepare for harder conversations.
Yeah, awesome.
Later.
That sounds good. So yeah, if you would like to assemble your dice pool.
Yes, so that's gonna be influence. I'm gonna say mastery. Diplomacy is probably it. Yeah.
Sure thing.
All that. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, you're only trying to beat a 4, so you will do so handily at this point. So yeah, you can subtract one of the remaining d6 from the pool. As you kind of prompt him a bit, you clearly kind of break him out of his reverie to an extent, and now it does start to kind of take a bit more of an active role in directing people's work, the stuff will kick into gear. And yeah, Vinaya, who would you like to take the next action in this challenge?
I'll kick it to Eljaal.
Yeah, okay. This might be a bit of an intellectual challenge at the moment. Maybe it's figuring out the control surfaces or how the magic interacts with everything. So yeah, I think with 6. Mastery, maybe, if this is something quite particular or technical.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I don't know that. Yeah, let's make this a moon shadow elf kind of deal.
Yeah.
If Feathershawl has added in a little bit of moon magic to the mix properly, then maybe we're using that a bit. So that's d6, d8, d10. Okay. So yeah, I guess I got a 1 on that d6, but I beat it with my d10, and then I retain the d8 as the effect die to get rid of the d6. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. That is perfect. So yeah, again, I will ask you to. Actually, I'm going to say at this point, I'm going to ask you to. I'm going to say if you would like to take the exhausted.
Yeah.
If you're happy with that, d6 rather than pushing up the afraid further, I think. Yeah, awesome. You make the final preparations, and at this point, everything is ready. People grab onto the climb aboard this glider. A few of those who are more proficient at working flying magics will kind of help guide the glider off the platform. They'll be kind of essentially like carrying guide ropes at first to help get the glider moving, and then to help them down through the gales surrounding the island. the glider will pitch off the side of the island. It's a hair-raising descent. The landing is a little bumpy, but safe as you land in a sort of an alpine meadow on the in the mountains. There will be some bumps and bruises for all as you come in for the landing, but it's as these things go, it's about as smooth as you could hope for. As you do so, there is a resounding cracking sound and a vibration you can feel through the floor as the island of Innean crashes into this mountain range. And it doesn't like explode in pieces or anything like that. It's still, obviously, it's a fairly significant piece of land mass. It smashes in, bits of like mountain crack off and slide down. There's rock falls, there's rock slides, and it kind of settles down, not teetering, it kind of does settle down into a solid bit, but listing slightly. The buildings that make it up start to kind of collapse in on themselves, as they're obviously not built for this sort of stress being placed upon them. And we will take our last quick break there. So if we come back for 1:15, we will pick things up there, and I'll speak to you all shortly. Yes. So, in the, as I say, the glider and its passengers has made a graceless, if largely safe, landing below. As I said, some people have some minor bumps and bruises and the like, but no one is seriously injured in the escape. The island has crashed into the side of the mountain now. It is clearly unstable, but still accessible at this stage. Yeah, so I guess what are people doing as you sort of dust yourself down?
I think I want to track down Feathershawl and see where they are, if they're trying to make a beeline for the well or what they're doing.
Yeah, so again, they are likewise. They are they actually probably did come down the remaining like moonbeam ladder with some of the more younger or infirm members of the village who wanted a safer descent. But yeah, he will sort of have led them down to rejoin with the rest of the village. But yeah, he's definitely kind of, if not directly starting to walk towards the village, he's certainly looking towards it and kind of, deciding on his on their approach.
What is Nausics doing?
Nausics is kind of attending to the villagers. He was helping to guide the glider down with his own magics, as were what's her name? Siftress and another young man called Noko, who I hadn't revealed their picture yet, but who's also has some ability in air magic as well. The three of them were kind of working in concert to help guide the glider down. But yeah, but I think after that, actually, Nausics is probably going to be heading to find Diyan and Vinaya in particular.
Ooh.
And do we get the sense that Feathershawl understands where the primal well is in terms of where they're heading? Or
Yes, they certainly knew that they had located where it was. Not necessarily a way to access it yet, but but they certainly knew where it was.
I'm less worried about him now that we know that if he touches it improperly, he'll be turned to stone. So that would be his own fault.
Yeah, and Nausics probably did bring the breastplate with him on the glider. They did not leave that. Lying around back home.
Yeah, I think that if there's a chance to throw a quick question at Feathershawl, I might say, Feathershawl, do you try innocently asking? Do you know what happens when someone touches that primal well?
I am sure there are some protections surrounding it, of course, Vinaya, though I can't say as I know the precise details, but I do plan to be careful.
You plan to be careful when you do what?
When I retrieve the primal well, that is, after all, what we were here for.
I turn to Vinaya.
I think Feathershawl, it would probably be the safest bet for all of us to pool our knowledge and think of, along with including Nausics, to think about how we retrieve the primal well. And from what we've learned, there may be a way to retrieve it in a way that makes everyone happy and safe, because there may be some dangers that we have to learn more about that you might not know about even in touching the thing.
I see. Well, if you can persuade Nausics to assist, then by all means, I would welcome his assistance in this endeavor.
Well, it goes both ways. I think you should offer your own assistance in their present problem, and you can make a sort of a deal. After all, when you think of it, you have an opportunity here to be helpful and see those people to some extent indebted to you for the help you are providing them.
I see, and you seem to have put some thought into this. Did you have anything in mind that they may be?
Well, perhaps Nausics can, all of us together with what Nausics has taught us, retrieve the primal well, and together we can all bring it to your village to save your group, perhaps even with the villagers who may be looking for a new home. And then with your mission accomplished, Nausics and his group will retain their cherished relic.
So,
and maybe have a new place to live now that they don't have a place anymore.
Huh. Well, that they'll nod and say, "Oh, of course, if they are looking for somewhere to settle down, and then they would. I am sure my people would welcome them in. We're always happy to offer aid to our cousins, especially in times of need like this."
And does it seem like, can I see if I think that that Feathershawl is telling the truth? Is there what's the read there?
Yes. And again, so I probably I won't ask you to make any rolls for this at this stage, but I think that, what you will there is a little hesitation in what he's saying, but you think he is genuine about wanting to help, without wanting to help these people. He generally wants to for them not to be kind of homeless and living out in the wilderness sort of thing. You will get, and especially from what Winda learnt in their discussion in their discussion with them, is that they were essentially like exiled from their village and from their position, so they can't actually speak on behalf of the village, but they are absolutely willing to try, put it that way. They're
So who has the breastplate at this point?
Probably Nausics still, unless Diyan, you have taken it from them. But
well, we can proceed with that scene.
Yeah, sure thing.
I think it's appropriate.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. Yeah.
I think Diyan would meditate a bit before that, but next to the place, and you will put on the breastplate before entering where the well is stored.
Yeah, sure thing. And Nausics will be kind of they will touch a necklace they're wearing, and you can see kind of the blue shimmer that you saw earlier kind of fades away. How much protection it would have actually given, seeing as most of the walls are crumbling and collapsing, is anyone's guess. But he does remove that last magical protection. As I said, it's unstable, but you can forge a safe path through it. And I am going to, for this, I think I am going to get you to roll. There's a little tension to it, and we may as well see how it goes. Bear with me one sec while I scroll back through to where this is hidden. Yeah, so Nausics will mention that there were like some other magical wards in place that protected this, but with the breastplate on, you will not have to worry about them. They will not affect you.
I thought I had a new asset with a new dice. I'm disappointed.
Oh no, you will indeed. You will have the Cuirass of Vushan, which is a D10 asset, and so this is going to be another. It's in theory a challenge again, but I think I'll probably just run it as a straight test, because we don't want it to drag on too much. But this is going to be difficult to do so without any side effects. But if you would. I'm going to set the difficulty, which is going to be 2d12. That's a much more manageable number that time. That's a difficulty of 13. So yeah, if you'd like to describe. So as I say, the well itself is this. It's a sort of faceted, almost like marble looking piece of stone. So about the size of a person's chest, but faceted like a diamond. It is set into this pedestal. But yeah, how does it look as you approach it? And then if you'd like to assemble your dice pool, as I say, you have a D10 asset for the breastplate to add into this on top of anything else you want to stipulate.
I guess the way it looks, so I hand my spear to Vinaya, and I proceed towards the well. It's the way it looks. It's pushing me with gush of winds away as I'm trying to get closer to it, but people can see in my eyes there are things going on in my head, like there's giving me visions of some kind. So I'd like to use my spirit.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
it's
That sounds cool.
cooler than my strength, even if my strength is better. So that's a D8. It really takes all my heart and devotion to progress towards that, and I will spend but yeah, Diyan never backs down, so I will spend my resolute plot point to use my exhausted as well.
Awesome. Yeah.
So it will be never back down at the 8 and exhausted 6. So it's 6, 8, 10, 8.
Cool.
6, 8, 10, 8. And 10 for the breastplate.
Yep.
Let's go. All right, it's not great, but what was the difficulty? 13.
13. Yeah.
Oh wow! So 13.
Ooh.
I just did a 12.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take some stress, which I'm happy about actually.
Yeah. So, if you would like to take, this will actually be a point of. I can't remember if it gives a specific thing here for how this works. I think it will be a.
Corruption.
Yeah, I think I was going to say. I think it is. I'm sure it said somewhere specifically what it is, but yeah, we'll say corruption because you can feel the energy emanating from this. You can almost feel like your movements start to get slower and more leaden as you push towards it, and yeah, it's kind of slowing you down and sapping a bit of the strength from your arms as you get closer to it.
Well, actually, because I spent my resolute, my exhausted is gone. My D6 is gone.
Cool.
But yeah, I got the corrupted set, so I think in great Dragon Prince fashion, he's probably gonna have something going on with his eyes and maybe some purplish things, which is sort of the humans doing magic, which is not always too great. So something is going on there.
Awesome. But yeah. Yeah, and you're just not quite. It's like you get your hands to it, but you're not able to kind of remove it from the pedestal. But yeah, we will. I think we will go. If you wish to try again, I will reset the difficulty, and you can do so. Or if you wish to pull back, that's also fine.
Or
Could he have used his plot points to bump the roll up?
Yes, if you had another plot point remaining, you could add in another dice onto your result.
Yeah, I could do that then. Let's do that. So we spend my last plot point.
Sure thing. No, that's cool. In which case, yeah, we probably still see some of that that you can feel that sort of like stony, crystalline thing in there, but you pick the primal well up and draw it back, and as you do, you feel not that the magic goes away exactly, but you feel that pressure sort of drop off a little bit, and you'll see actually, and also as you do so, several like colored crystal growths almost will grow out of the side of the crystal as you move it out and carry it back out of the doorway. But yeah, I think well, yeah, how does that look, and what are people's reactions like as Diyan emerges?
Well, Vinaya is super relieved and runs up to give Dion a hug. She's not very demonstrative usually, but that was seemed like a pretty close call.
I think
Diyan
Winda
comes
is.
across as much colder than usual with Vinaya. There's something a bit somewhat alien about him.
I think Winda is just super impressed and very excited that it happened, and it's kind of like jumping around, like, yes, we did it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think does Dion sometimes give the impression that he is, made of stone, and but definitely not literally this time, thankfully.
Awesome. And I think what we'll do there is we'll draw sort of a curtain on this little scenario. But what I would like is if everyone wants to just give like one last little kind of epilogue vignette of their character, either like in the immediate aftermath of all of this, or at some point later in the future. So I'm going to go in reverse character keeper order this time, I think. So Eljaal, I'll start off with you.
Yeah, I think this is probably going to be fairly soon after aftermath of our adventure. We see Eljaal walking away in the group of the villagers, and maybe like Pareka, the young girl we met very early on, sitting on their shoulders, and they're talking to a couple of the other villagers about what their plans are, and just maybe starting to think about being with these people rather than adventuring. I don't know if their mind is made up at all, but they're just thinking about the future.
Awesome. That's brilliant. Thank you very much. And Winda, how about you?
I think kind of in the aftermath of all the stuff with the crystal, she finds Feathershawl and just says, I'm sorry I mistrusted you. I know you only had the best intentions for your people in mind. And if you need me to help in any way, I'm happy to come along and do what I can.
Awesome, lovely. Thank you very much. And Vinaya, what's the last little epilogue vignette we see of her?
Yeah, I think Vinaya, as the group hustles out of the keep, she'll have remembered where there was a bookshelf or two, and grabs at least a couple tombs that looked more interesting, and in the rush, such as that's possible for future reading, and hopes that that she can tag along with the refugee elves to their new home, to maybe see a new part of Xadia that she hadn't before.
Awesome, lovely. Thank you very much. And last but not least, Diyan. What do we see? What do we see of Diyan in the epilogue to this the story?
I think as we are evacuating the place, there are several episodes moment when Diyan is staring into the void behind us in a way which is a bit lost in that void, and it's a bit worrying. And at some point, he will step in the void. Like it doesn't look like he looked if there was anything under and so on. And so there's a moment of panic. And actually, what happened is that he fell but fell on something below. But in the process, he saved someone who something had broken down, and he managed to catch that person. But it really didn't feel like uh, a conscious action from someone seeing someone falling and then jumping. It was just he let himself into the void, and somehow he probably hurt himself from the fall on that thing below. So yeah, it ended well, but it was kind of worrying in terms of an action to take.
Awesome, that's brilliant. Well, thank you very much, everyone. It's been good fun. I've enjoyed getting a chance to to play with you all and to get to grips with this system. So
Yeah,
thank you
thanks
for
running it.
No
Yeah,
worries,
thank you
not a
very
problem.
much.
I will stop our recording now.